Hotep family. So we're going to discuss lesson 11 of Message to the People, or the course on African philosophy. This one is going to be man. I am your host, Onitaset Kumat, of the pro-black perspective. The pro-black perspective. I wrote the Book of Power. I wrote Pro-Black Compendium, and I wrote Zubiri and the Moons of Ma'ah. I like to think of myself as a Garvey, but I also like to think that I can contribute a little more to this planet, and here is part of my contribution. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you lesson 11, but I'm also going to give some commentary, because a lot of the stuff, I want you to get it. I want you to get this. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you can tune in for the whole thing, and if not, hey, that's fine too. But how are you doing? All right, let's keep going. Man, because of his sin, which caused him to have fallen from his high estate of spiritual cleanliness to the level of a creature who acts only for his own satisfaction by the gift of free will, must be regarded as a dangerous creature of life. When he wants to, he can be good. Otherwise, he is generally bad. In dealing with him, you must calculate for his vices and his damnable evils. He is apt to disappoint you at any time. Therefore, you cannot wholly rely on him as an individual. Always try to touch him with the hope of bringing out that which is good, but be ever on your guard to experience the worst that is in him, because he is always in conflict with himself, as between good and evil. Wow. Okay. Like, he just starts it off like, wham, wow. Okay, so this is pretty much what you experience this is Western domination, okay? Under the Western system, man is generally bad, okay? He's generally bad. Even the idea of sin, that sin comes from the Western culture. Man is generally bad until we bring African spirituality to them. So we have to be about African spirituality. Like this is because generally speaking, this is generally speaking. All right, generally speaking, the West, and this is white people pretty much universally bad. Can they do good? Sure. Okay, sure. But generally speaking, you understand? Generally speaking, like, everybody in the West is pretty bad. Everybody. But let's keep going. When he can profit from evil, he will do it and forget goodness. This has been his behavior ever since the first record of his existence and his first contact with his fellows. So I'm just going to double check, make sure that everything's recording right. Good. Let me just say hi to the chat. Peace, family. All right. Let's go. Cain slew Abel for his success. Jacob robbed Esau of his birthright, and down through the ages of human history, man has been robbing, exploiting, and murdering man for gain. So again, this is like the white people's his story, like this is allegorical. I think I don't think they're real people, but the idea is that like they find it just to do bad, like. What we call justice, what we call peace, is different from what other people call it. Okay, what other people call justice and peace. Like, a lot of times you have to realize that people are in things for their social interest. But let's keep going. I'm sorry, for their self-interest. Let's keep going. Therefore, do not completely trust him, but watch him. When he is good, try to keep him good, although he may not always remain good. If he is bad, avoid him. This is what you have to say. If he is bad, avoid him. Avoid bad people. Just avoid them. If you have no business with him to the extent of being too much in his company, always try to reform him and use good influence on him, because the hope of life is to produce a better man. The passion of man is in evidence everywhere. It revolts against affection, kindness, and even love when it has a personal object to attain. Self-interest is what people move by. People are moved by self-interest, okay? We have heard and read of children murdering their parents for gain, and parents murdering their children in a similar manner. We have heard of wives killing their husbands and husbands killing their wives for gain. This is why I don't even take out life insurance. This reveals how wicked man can be. When we discuss man, we discuss the creature and not the particular individual whom we know, love, and can trust. Man, therefore, is the abstract creature who is vile until we know him personally. Seek first to know him before you completely trust him, because you are apt to be disappointed. A man shakes your hand today, and tomorrow he is chief witness against you for execution. What is it that has caused him to do that? It is his vileness. Know it that he is vile, and only when you know him sufficiently may you trust him as far as your judgment would dictate. He is apt to change on you, and probably at the psychological moment when you need his help most. Therefore, in dealing with man, trust your own character and your own judgment more than depending absolutely on his, for most of the time his advice to you is wrong, and calculatingly so as to put you at a disadvantage. This is like, whew. You understand? So he's saying as a leader, now, particularly now, he's talking about a leader in America or whatever. But like, you have to realize that this is a man who was betrayed by his own people. This is a man who was betrayed by his own people, and the reality is that this being betrayed by your own people, or being betrayed by people who may look like you, is very, 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 sorry, very, 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 very common. Okay? All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Okay? It's like you have to realize that what we're doing is we are looking to build institutions, build organizations, build a future for our people. And there are going to be a lot of our people. Well, I don't even want to say our people. There are Ascari in this world. Okay? There are Ascari in this world. Get that through your head. There are Ascari. Okay? Do not just like, look. They are worthless. I'm going to say it that way. They are worthless. Alright? You don't need to associate with Ascari. Okay? You don't. What we need to do as Onkovia, what we need to do as race loyalists, what we need to do as productive people is get together and produce that next nation. Okay? Stop wasting your time on Ascari. It is not worth it. You're wasting your time. They will poison you on purpose. They will poison you on purpose. Like I said, I used to like sometimes you want to have your hands up, oh yeah, everybody come, we're for everybody. All those black people, we're for everybody. Right? A Scotty will do you harm. They will. Or at least they will try to. Okay? They will calculate how to harm you. Like even right now, I go to my YouTube page. You know what spam I get? I don't know why I get spam. But I have an idea. A Scotty. Now, of course, I don't go into that paranoia, blah, blah, blah. But you can imagine. Okay? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what the Ascari are up to. I wouldn't be surprised. I would, because I see a lot of things. I see a lot of things going on. I'm like, what's this? What is that? And again, like, I don't do the paranoia stuff. I don't do the conspiracy theory crap. I don't do that. What I do is I see there's a freaking Ascaris around. That's it. So hear everything from man, but do not believe everything until you have tested it for yourself. So like you just heard me, I'm telling you there are Ascari. If you don't believe me, that's fine. If you don't believe me, that's fine. But you go test it out. Test to see the people around you. Test to see where they are. Test to see what they produced. For man does not produce anything. Anything. They don't got anything. Dismiss them. Dismiss them. The world, like, what's it say? Nothing. Like, go back to the rap. Nothing works in theory. All that works in works. If a man has only theories, dismiss them. You have to have works. You know, when I go through my life, I tell you, look, yeah, I was a part of this organization, I was a part of that organization. I could tell you that stuff. Because I didn't just sit at home. I didn't just sit at home. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Now I'm coming to you. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Look good on me. The history of the world shows that man has been the chief murderer or killer. Humans. And look, this is really the white man. The white man. He's the chief murderer, chief killer. But don't think for a second that a black person would not kill you for doing good in your community. Do not think for a second that a black person would not try to kill you for doing good in your community. Don't. Okay, do not. Understand you're living in a world of war. War runs this world. War runs this world. This world is run on warfare. That's like the first or second essay in the Book of Power. Understand that. One of the earliest essays in the book is telling you straight up, look, before you even get into this, before you even get into the meat and potatoes, understand this. World runs on warfare. Understand that? If you get nothing else, if you just pick up the book and you say, you know what? You don't want to keep reading. I mean, I supported the brother, but I mean, I'd rather read those. Whatever you want to do. Read that. World run on warfare. Warfare. That's it. You understand? Until you understand that, until you understand it, don't even step to me. Like, don't even, because I don't know what you're doing. Don't even, like, if you don't understand that, I don't know what you've done. I'm saying, wait a second, hold on a second. You know, like, I be seeing stuff randomly, like, people like, hey, man, you know that, why don't they tell us the truth about, why are they hiding this, and they're just lying about, yeah, of course they lying about that stuff. Why would they tell you the truth? It's run on warfare. Information is power. You understand? You know how dangerous information in the wrong hand is? If I want you to buy my bottle of water, why would I tell you that the bottled water I'm selling you is just tap water? Why would I tell you that? You understand? Like if I was in that position, now obviously you might now say, wait a second, does that mean that you're a corrupt individual? No, I'm not a corrupt individual. I'm just giving you an example. You know, just because I said who it was me. Don't take that the wrong way. But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is this. You know, information is power. That's why I give you information. That's why I write on power. Okay. Because I understand. Look, with this knowledge, if we work together with this knowledge, we good. We set. You understand? Or some of you like, wait, set? We are set. You feel me? All right. He has killed more creatures than any other being. He plans his murders, which he may execute on individuals or on large groups of men. And he generally does this for profit, national profit, racial profit, political profit, or economic profit. Look, I one time was watching a show. I don't know if it was on YouTube, something like that. And these white people were saying, hey, you know, we found a substance, we found a gas that if released on an individual can kill them pretty rapidly. And this gas is like we found a lethal, you know, let's say neurotoxin. We found the lethal neurotoxin. And you know, like almost accidentally, you know, this neurotoxin, it can kill people pretty quickly, and it's very deadly. It's one of the most deadliest substances on the planet. And then the next sentence is like, so we mass produced it, and we have it stored over here, and we mass produced enough to wipe out the entire planet. Yeah, he mass produced a deadly neurotoxin, let's say. He mass produced a neurotoxin to the point where he has enough supply to wipe out the human species. and now he has it hidden away, tucked away somewhere. Why would you mass produce a deadly neurotoxin so much so that you have the storage to wipe out the entire human species? What sort of what? Like what? All right. Like, all right. Let's go. He is so vile that he no longer depends upon his physical strength to execute his vileness or to defend himself. He manufactures the most deadly weapons to do the deed quickly, while seeking self-protection from a similar attack. That's it. Therefore, contemplate the state of his mind. Contemplate that he would calmly, coolly, and collectively invest in an instrument or chemical purposely designed to kill his fellows at a point where they may not harm him, to gain the property and possession of his fellows. Can anything be more diabolical? No other animal sinks to this low, murderous level. And he's talking about white people. But don't mistake it as just white people. Because the reality is that black people can be bought. And we know this. We know black people can be bought. Why do we know this? Because there are black people in the West. We were purchased. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were purchased. So, yeah. I mean, that's obviously a play on words. Anyway, and obviously we were stolen, but still. Hence, man must be stripped of his veneer to see the evil machinations of his mind. The mind that makes TNT, high explosives, the mind that makes mustard gas, the mind that invents the Krupp gun, the Winchester rifle, the fast-proof caliber pistol, and poisons, all calculated to kill his brother. Do you want anything more wicked? No. Can you realize how bad man is? If you do, then always be on guard, because you know that not when the evil genius cometh. You know? I had a brother who showed me a book, and it's like a white boy wrote it, and he was like 1/5, like every 5, like 1/5 of people, and they meant white people, but 1/5 of people, or 1/5 of white people, want to destroy the world. You know what I'm saying? like just straight up. Or it could have been like 1/10. It could have been another number. But the whole idea is that there are white people who want to destroy the world. There are white people who want to destroy the world, and you can't tell by looking at them. You can't. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. Therefore, know your man, so that even though he comes with a smile, find out what is behind the smile. It is only a foolish man who accepts another at his word without finding out something about him. Never fall in love at first sight and marry at the first opportunity. Never promise everything at the first request until you know the person is worthy of your promise. Look at that, man. Never marry at the first opportunity. You know what I'm saying? If you prize your own good fortune, never pledge it on the first approach of any man. But follow him, investigate him, and when his conduct coincides with what he states and what he promises, you may take the chance of trusting him just so far. As proof of this, there are more unhappy marriages than happy ones, although based upon the best of promises at the start. And this is relationships, and he's gonna say it right now. There are more happy relations between man than there are more unhappy relations between man than happy relations, simply because the evil mind of man cannot keep good always. It is generally evil. This gives you sufficient evidence that man is vile and only in remote instances good. If you know it, then why take the chance of always believing before seeing? The taste of the pudding is the proof of it. Oh, snap. Yeah, this is funny, man. I used to think this was Bill Cosby, you know? The proof is in the pudding, right? But, I mean, I'm guessing this is like a famous phrase, though. I'm guessing it's a famous phrase, but it looks like Marcus Garvey says it too. So know your man before you believe. Never believe before you know. Always let your mission be the make man good. Therefore, talk to man always from the loftiest pinnacle. You may convert somebody. You may turn a vile man good. And if you succeed in doing this in even one instance, you have accomplished a great work. Leadership in good character must make sacrifice to raise man from the lowest depths. But it is blind foolishness to sacrifice more than necessary. Therefore, redeem the man with the least amount of harm to yourself. All right. So we're gonna transition. We're gonna transition to education. But before we go into education, I'm gonna tell you guys not only about a good educational book, but a good book for you to do right here, which is Redeemed Man, the least amount of harm to yourself. So how can you do that? You give people a good book. And what's a good book, you may ask? Well, aside from Message to the People, aside from any other books I have, or even Ptah Htp, another excellent book, aside from those, you have the Book of Power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the ad. It's a rap I wrote and sang around the Book of Power, and listen to the words, listen to the lyrics, and you're going to see that, hey, you know what, this is some good, like this book, because a lot of the words are from the book, you know what I'm saying, or they're based off of the book. So this I want you to listen to it. Let's go. Okay, so I know books, alright? So let me tell you about a book. Listen, alright, check it. So the goal and objective is to be selective, electing for knowledge with the black directive, checking sources, heritage, and legacies. With the brilliance to defeat our nemesis, the Book of Power, so aptly named, esteemed and famed for informing the brain, and doing the same as the ancestors before us. Sankofa, that's the life chorus. Wisdom is the key against dangers. Either change the leaders or lead the changes. We are doing Africa with no strangers. Do you hear us? Okay, hold on. We can't continue to beat the second fiddle. African power is the end of this riddle. To build a nation, the likes which never existed. The motto heretofore, we persisted. Better, we resisted. Best, we building. We'll raise the roof and break through the ceiling. Peeling away the change we were given to stop just surviving, start thriving and living. Africa's about to host superpowers. China and US superpowers. No one can be free without freeing themselves. But freedom is shown and owned on bookshelves. The Book of Power, a key for liberation. There's no domination where there's education. Because ignorance is man's main weakness. All are exploited if we don't teach this. Within the pages of sages, kings and queens, Arkham, Delaney, Dessalines, Nyeri, Garvey, Zinga, and Cooks. 500 pages, surpassing most books. The task is told to bring up a confidence. You will hold the comb for the competent. Have some pride and push forward your chest. You're reading by reading one of the best. Alright, the book of science covers violence, self-reliance, and does away with silence. The time has come for the work to get done and build up a land that'll be second to none. We'll organize, technologize, strategize a new Africa before our eyes. Blackness will be the complexion we see anytime we envision what it means to be free. So come join minds, read what is written. Here be solutions, no longer hidden. Nothing works in theory, all that works and works. So it's time to put ourselves first. Change the leaders and lead the changes. Tell your friends, family, and neighbors. Change the leaders and lead the changes. Tell your friends, family, and neighbors. Change the leaders and lead the changes. Tell your friends, family, and neighbors. Change the leaders and lead the changes. Book Power. So the Book of Power can be purchased on Amazon. Just click on the link below. Book of Power. It's on Amazon. Okay? Click on the link below. You got me. Hotep. Alright. Love it. Alright, keep going. There's no, like in the rap goes, there's no domination where there's education. You cannot be dominated if you have a thorough education, in so much as when you have a thorough education, you gotta realize a lot of black people are not educated. They'll not have a thorough education. But when you have a thorough education, you are working for your own people. You understand? You are like an education. Like here's what I'm saying. The white boy, when he go get his education, who does he work for? You see what I'm saying? When a white boy go get his education, who he work for? And then when you get your education, who you work for? Or when you get your miseducation, who you work for? It's really that simple. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. Let's keep going. The present system of education is calculated to subjugate the majority and elevate the minority. So this is pretty interesting. Like, real talk, you, the minority, you the real minority, and you being subjugated. But let's follow this train of thought right here. The present system of education is calculated to subjugate the majority and elevate the minority. The system was divided, and so you have to ask yourself, who is the minority? Who is the minority if he's talking about the minorities being elevated by education? The elites. The white elite. You see what I'm saying? The white majority, the white commoner is being subjugated, and the white elite is being elevated. You're not even in the picture. The system was devised and has been promulgated by agents of the minority, of the elite. See, you're not going to understand this without the Book of Power. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously I can explain it to you, but what I'm saying is, this is where this word comes in. Like you say elite. In the Book of Power, we talk about elites and commoners, majority and minority. You understand? But minority being the upper class, the ruling class. This is the ruled class, and the ruling class created education to elevate the ruling class. The ruling class created education to elevate the ruling class. So that's why you're not educated, because you're not a part of the ruling class. This system was carefully thought out by those who desire to control others for their benefit and to the disadvantage of others. Alright? To the extent that the others would not immediately rise into happiness and enjoyment of life simultaneously and equally with them. It was never originally intended to make all the people equal at the same time. Even more so was it not intended to elevate the darker races to the immediate standard of the white races. The minority sprung from the white race. The minority sprung from the white race to establish the system of education. The elite minority sprung from the white race to establish the system of education. Therefore, all textbooks and general literature are colored to suit the particular interests of those who establish the system of education and the group they represent as against the interests of others whom they did not want to immediately elevate to their standard. So, like you notice, I immediately understood this. Immediately understood this. What literature does for you, right? What my literature does for you is that it makes it so that you can understand all the literature. You understand? That's what, like, again, this is like theory in a sense. You know, like theory is good. It's not the best thing, but what it does is it allows you to understand more. This would have been confusing. Like, I'm like, the minority. What's the minority? The elite. So as soon as I see elite, as soon as I see minority advantage, elite. Like, I explained to you what a nation is. Like, and it's imperative for you to understand that that's what nations do. It's imperative. Again, you know, you're not gonna get that wisdom elsewhere. You're not. But Garvey's gonna get you close, though. Garvey will get you close. There's always a limited process in the education of other races by the race that originates the system of education. So this is, I think, right here. I think this passage right here, like going down here, I think this is in the Book of Power. Okay, because I said to myself, look, I'm going to put something from this book. But let's go here. As for instance, if a Negro attends a university with other students of the race that originated or projects that educational system, while the Negro would have the privilege of the classroom for general instruction to learn commonly, he may not have the privilege of his fellow students of the other race, who may be admitted to certain club fraternities within the university from which he would be debarred. Such fraternities generally enjoy the privilege of special instructions and special discussions which convey a wider range of enlightenment on the subjects taught than would be possible to the Negro. Hence, when he graduates, even from the same textbooks, his technical knowledge is not as wide as that of others who have had fuller explanation in the technical interpretation of the particular textbooks, and at the same time is only trained to reflect the system that props the intentions of the creator of the system, so that at his best, he who is making use of his education is a slave to a system that was not intended for him, but to which he renders service. I already read. I put this in the Book of Power, so you already know. But you get it. I mean, so you get it. If you do not like what I'm saying is like what Garvey is saying is this, that white people have it such that like they understand the purpose of education is not just instruction, but getting together and getting the special instruction and special discussion and getting fraternity. You see? It's deeper than ever. It's deeper. You're not getting it. You're not getting it, and I don't know what to tell you. Only thing I can tell you, only thing I can advise you is this. Get you a book. Get you the book. Read the book, cover to cover. Join the Discord, right? And as we grow in number, those of us who know that we know, right? As we grow in number, then we can rule. Okay? We can. It's not an individual that can do it. I can't just roll over and say, you know what, everybody in this world, come down to this town. I've made it. I've made this town. I made the city. Come on, everybody. I can't do that. If I could, I could read to you this book. That's what I could do. I could read you a book. I can't build a city by myself. I can't. I would love to. You think I wouldn't? I would love to be living in a city of my design or of intelligent design. I would love to, but I can't. Not on my own. I need you. Okay, I need you. All right, and for what it's worth, you need me in this book. Well, you need this book and me. I mean, don't leave me behind, right? Don't leave me behind. All right, keep going. Don't just take the book and leave me behind. I mean, you could, obviously, because look, I plan on coming back. I don't care. But the point is that, we need each other, So let's do this. All right? Therefore, it is necessary for the Negro to be additionally educated or re-educated after he has imbibed the present system of education. The best way to do this is to educate him racially in the home, book, meeting hall, book, or his own club, book, where he'll be put under the closest scrutiny and analysis of what appears to be education as coming from other people, because their system of education may not completely fit into the Negro's idea of his own preservation. White people are not worried about preserving you. White people are not worried about preserving you. You understand? I was looking at this video. What was the video of? What happened in the video? Something happened with a dog, and somebody was so out. Oh yeah. No, I was looking at this text, this comment, and they were like, "Hey, don't call the police." I mean, hey, if we they were like, call up, they were like, "Hey, stop harassing the police," because who else can we call? Like if we observe a burglar, like if somebody breaks into our house, and who else can we call? Somebody breaks into our house, and who will show up an hour later and shoot our dog, And then white people were like, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna shoot a dog? How terrible!" "Oh, I'd kill somebody for shooting my dog." White people are more concerned with preserving their dogs than they are preserving you, and they should be. They should be, because it's you who should be concerned with preserving yourself, not white people. Duh. Duh. Anyway, but by not being able to do this in the past, educated Negroes have not been able to assume proper leadership of their race because their education was of the nature to cause them to support the present system, which is of no advantage to the Negro, except as a servant, serf, and slave, for which purpose really the system was devised to a certain extent. And understand this, like again, I attached this, I explained this to you in the Book of Power, but let me explain it to you again. If you go to their school and you did not have a full ride, you have to work for them. When you have to work for somebody, there's a word for that. Servant, serf, slave. There are words for somebody who has to work for another people. Servant, serf, slave. Even trying to better your life, you'll be made into a serf, servant, slave. Period. Even So let's keep going. This explains the behavior of leading Negro intellectuals who are not able to dissect the educational system of others and use only the portion that would be helpful to the Negro race and add to it for a complete curriculum that would be satisfactory as a complete education for the race. And again, the educational system, this is tough. Like, you have to realize that if you're in another nation, if you're in a foreign nation, they will be able to guide your educational system. And even if not, where do you graduate to? What do you do when you graduate? Where do you go when you graduate? Like, you have to have a whole economy. There's so much depth. There's so much depth. I explain it. I have to, again, I have to do it in 500 pages. Have to explain it in 500 pages. There is so much depth in this world. I cannot explain it to you. Already just reading this taking me longer than I expected. I could sit down and read this 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes maybe. Right? But it's taking me long because I got to explain this stuff. Because there's so much depth in this world. Do not wholly... I hope I didn't skip anything. Yeah. Do not swallow wholly the educational system of any other group, except you have perfectly analyzed it and found it practical and useful to your group. There is still room for the Negro educational system, free from the prejudices that the present educational system holds against him. Never fail to impress upon the Negro that he is never thoroughly educated until he has imbibed racial education. So that's what I call that speech in the Book of Power. It is by education that we become prepared for our duties and responsibilities in life. If one is badly educated, he must naturally fail in the proper assumption and practices of his duties and responsibilities. The Negro fails in the proper assumption of his duties and responsibilities because he has been badly educated. He has universally failed to measure up to his duties and responsibilities as a man and as a race. His education has been subversive. He must now make his education practical and real. Hence, he must rearrange everything that affects him in his education to be of assistance to him in reaching out to his responsibilities and duties. This is so important because, look here, listen to me right now. Listen to me. Black people, for the most part, do not have educational institutions. If one is badly educated, they will naturally fail. What about someone who does not have educational institutions? The reason why the Chinese, the Indian, or every other people can do so much better than black people is because they have their own educational institutions. Let's keep going. I keep saying I'm going to stop that, but I keep saying it. As you shouldn't expect another man to give you the clothing that you need to cover your own body, so you should not expect another race to give you the education to challenge their right to monopoly and mastery, to take for yourself that which they also want for themselves. If you are going to distrust the other man and his honesty because you know him to be dishonest, then you must maintain the attitude in every respect. For if he is dishonest in one, he may be dishonest in all. If he will rob you of your wages, he will also rob you of your education that would enable you to know that he is robbing you of your wages. Basically, if you're, oh my gosh, white people are so bad to me. White people are so bad and they do all this blah blah blah. If you think he's so bad, then why in the world are you giving him your child? If you think he's so damn racist, why are you complaining about him miseducating your child? Miseducating you in school? If he's so vile and he's such a thief, why are you saying he never tells me the truth? No shit, Imhotep. I don't actually like to use the ancestor like that, but what I'm saying is, come on. Come on. A dishonest person is dishonest? What? Trust only yourself and those you know, and those who look like you. Those who look like you and are related to you ought to be known first, before you know others. There may be good grounds for a common education of all groups in the community, such as civic education, political and social education, but this detailed education that teaches man how to live to the highest and enjoy the best is particular education, and that particular education is always reserved for those who want to gain an advantage. Therefore, it is no other way in particular. If in no other way particular, secure education and have your own, such as the Jews, who have outside of any common education a particular and peculiar education of their own, which augments or adds to or modifies the common education that they have gathered in the community with others. And you know, if you want to really understand these people, they have the Torah and they have other books. Like I pass by, sometimes I walk by these Jew homes, and they have books and books and like volumes of books. And these volumes are on warfare, or on being of your collective self-interest, or your collective interest, your self-interest, how to live in a way to have advantage over others. They have this in their homes. They teach their children this, and this is why they don't sweat. They don't sweat the world like other people do. Okay? And it's for you. Like again, I said, I give you one book. I don't give you volumes and volumes. I could be like, hey man, here's a volume of this, volume of that, blah 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 blah. And maybe someday I will. Maybe someday I will. But right now you have one book you could get cheap compared to what's in it. Cheap. And you can get the advantage. By view of that fact that the Jew gets a dual education, the education of the state and the education of his race, he is always in a unique position to worsen or to better his compatriots of another race in the community. He is always making more out of everything than the Gentile, because he knows all about the Gentile, while the Gentile knows nothing about him. This is how you should live in this world. Get your dual education. You already have the education of the state. That means education of the state. Get the education of your race. Be in the unique position to better the compatriots of our race and another, and know all about us, African people, and just be at the advantage. You understand? Be at the advantage. Now, I don't like to, bring up Jews or praise other people. I don't like to do that. I don't know why Garvey does it so much. But, the point hits home. The point hits home. You have to do it for yourself. My only advice, read the 12 books I wrote. Read the 12 books I've put in the other podcast about what 12 books you should read. Okay? Read those 12 books. Foremost, read the Book of Power. Get Message to the People. Get Raised First. Get Carlos A. Cook's Reader. You get that free. Join the Discord. That's it. Join the Discord and be like, where my book at? And I'll be like, yeah, you got you. Right? But, of course, read African philosophy. Read, I'd also advise read When We Ruled. Like, just read. But nothing else. Get the Book of Power. If nothing else, get the Book of Power. So we can get ahead as a people. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Much love, much respect, and hopefully I'll see you again another day. But thank you, and Shem Yam Hotep.